Good evening, it is Weather United here, and welcome back to another detailed update on Tropical Storm Fiona for your Thursday afternoon update, September 15th, 2022. In this update, we are watching Tropical Storm Fiona that has continued strengthening. If you like detailed weather updates, smash the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any of my updates. So here's a zoomed out view on Tropical Storm Fiona, and as you can all see, it is clearly very well sheared because of the westerly deep layer shear that is very strong, perhaps reaching up in speeds of about 25 to 30 knots coming in out of this direction, really lopsiding the system. I mean, there is almost no convection at all throughout the entire center, and all the deep convection here is well displaced more than a degree off to the east away from the center of Fiona. A closer zoomed in view clearly shows you just that. Again, here is the circulation. Very strong winds here on the northeastern side of the circulation, as what I'm going to show you here on Recon. Winds are coming all the way around here as the system is trying to get better defined. The area of low pressure is a little less defined, and it's a little bit more elongated than it was earlier, but nevertheless, it is still trying to hang on to its power and energy with, again, a lot of the deep convection here well displaced from the circulation due to strong deep layer shear, as you all can see here too, with some of the lower cloud filaments blowing in out of the westerly direction here. In fact, an Air Force 306 mission investigating Tropical Storm Fiona does show that it has found winds that are near hurricane force here. Some of the purple barbs do indicate winds of at least 64 knots. Of course, this is not mixing down to the surface, but surface frequency microwave radiometer winds have reached about 50 knots, and that's why the NHC has went ahead and increased the intensity to 60 miles an hour. And this is a very strong fetch of tropical storm force winds. Even so, there is no deep convection over this portion of the system, and this Recon mission or the plane itself is now flying out on the southern side of the system and has not found really strong winds at all. Very light winds, and this indicates that the system is fairly well elongated and is less defined than it was earlier this morning. So once again, the National Hurricane Center has issued tropical storm warnings on Guadeloupe and some of the U.S. Virgin Islands and British Virgin Islands, including Puerto Rico, that is now under a tropical storm watch due to tropical storm conditions that are possible within the next 3 to 4 days. After that, though, it does appear that Tropical Storm Fiona could still cross the Dominican Republic by days 4 and 5 as a stronger tropical storm with winds that could be around 65 to near 70 miles an hour. And as you can see down here, winds are at 60 miles an hour, and it is moving to the west at 14 miles an hour. And so we're now taking a look here at the key messages from Tropical Storm Fiona. This is very important information that you all need to be heeding by the National Hurricane Center. And I will read these three out to you all. I know reading can get kind of boring, but it's very important that I do provide you the best information. So tropical storm conditions are expected in the Leeward Islands within the warning area by Friday. Okay, tropical storm conditions are possible within the watch area across the Virgin Islands beginning on Saturday and then reaching Puerto Rico late Saturday and Saturday night. Heavy rains from Fiona will reach the northern Leeward Islands Friday afternoon, spreading to the British and U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico Saturday into Sunday morning, and reaching eastern Hispaniola by Sunday. This rainfall may produce flash flooding and urban flooding along with isolated mudslides in areas of higher terrain. Considerable flood impacts are possible across eastern portions of Puerto Rico. Fiona is expected to move over and near Hispaniola early next week, and watches could be required for these areas on Friday. So again, that's a look at your key messages. Now let's take a look at your wind speed probability these because these have also went up a little bit according to the National Hurricane Center. So some of the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, as well as Anguilla and Antigua, 40 to 60% chances for tropical storm force winds on those islands within the next day or so. Puerto Rico, you have a 20 to 30% chance of tropical storm force winds. And then, of course, if you're in the Dominican Republic and the southeastern Bahama Islands, you have a 5 to 30% chance of tropical storm force winds on those islands. So now let's take a look at our global computer models because we also want to time this and who is going to get impacted the most. So just a quick side note, the date and time is right here as I am mousing it over. This is Pacific time, by the way, so you would add 3 hours in Eastern time and 4 hours if you're in Bermuda, but still the same if you are in the Eastern Caribbean. So please take note of that as we move through the video. So Friday morning on the Global Forecasting System, or known as a GFS model, we can see where our system is here, approaching the Leeward Islands. And by the time we go into Saturday morning, we're talking about moderate to heavy rainfall, as what the NHC has noted in their outlook, over Guadeloupe, over portions there of Dominica, and some of the islands there like Antigua and Anguilla could also see some strong winds and some heavy rainfall. And then, of course, crossing over the U.S. and British Virgin Islands by Saturday night into Sunday morning, and then approaching Puerto Rico perhaps by Sunday evening into early Monday morning as a stronger tropical storm. That winds could be anywhere between 60 to 65 miles an hour, and then it could intensify fairly quickly on the GFS model in 102 hours. So that leads me to this. How strong could the winds actually get with Tropical Storm Fiona? Well, we have Tropical Storm right now with 60-mile-an-hour winds. So going forward here by Saturday morning, winds do look to fall apart a little bit more. So maybe some weakening is noted here, and it doesn't surprise me given how misaligned the two vortexes are on the visible satellite imagery perspective. And also Recon may be measuring also lighter winds in their next few passes. So assuming all of this, looks like the GFS model may be onto something with a weaker tropical storm, but still have winds at about 30 to 45 miles an hour as it crosses these islands. It may strengthen a little bit more perhaps by Saturday night into Sunday morning as it approaches, again, Puerto Rico. So again, if you're watching this from Puerto Rico and some of these islands, you need to take this a little seriously. We're talking about rain, strong winds, maybe, again, some landslides and some significant flooding on these, okay? And then by 102 hours out, so by early Monday afternoon, September the 19th, you can see on the top left side of the screen, winds could increase to about 70 miles an hour, as with what the NHC is showing. And then going forward here, we can see how the system moves more northerly and avoids the Bahamas, which is good because this would be very, very serious. Now, that's not to say this is not going to impact the Bahamas. We do have the European model to still be a little weary about as we look at this. So again, it is a little slower. The European finally latching onto the GFS that the system now looks to move into the area by Friday evening instead of Friday morning. And then by the time we go into, say, Saturday and Sunday, you can see those winds that are strongest right over Puerto Rico, but the center here is much further to the south than what the GFS model actually shows. The GFS had it way up here to the north. The European model has it a lot further to the south, and this would really matter a lot because if it does get into the Dominican Republic, it would be bad news because it would bring a lot of flooding, a lot of mudslides, a lot of significant impacts. But the good thing about this is it would destroy the system quite substantially. And so we're left with a much weaker, innocuous kind of system lurking out here, very similar to other systems that went through this area really had a hard time surviving. And besides that, shear is also going to play a role in here over the next several days. And then by the time we go towards the end of the week, it does impact the Bahamas, but a lot weaker than what the GFS model indicated. Rainfall totals look to be quite impressive for this system, anywhere between about 4 to maybe perhaps 5 or so inches in these areas. So again, freshwater flooding, some mudslides, and debris flows are certainly a possibility due to how much rainfall that is expected to fall in these areas. When we take a look at the Dominican Republic in the next 5 days, you can see some areas there could end up getting all the way up to perhaps maybe 5 to 8 inches, or about 150 to 300 millimeters of rainfall. If you found this weather information very helpful, make sure you smash the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any of my future updates. But anyways, I will see you in the next one. Peace!